All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So as you log onto the line this morning, let me officially welcome you to our profit call. Let me welcome you to BYOB Profit Call. This is Tasha M. Dyer, the Trader Whisperer, creator of the BYOB Cash Out Strategy. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to make sure that you are walking in the right mindset as we begin this call this morning. So drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations. You want to make sure that we're dropping it in the chat. And so let's see here. I'm getting everything set up for you guys, but I want to make sure that you're actually walking in the right mindset. I want to make sure that you are logging on and dropping it in the chat so we can make sure, like I said, we're walking in that right energy and the right affirmations. And we do not have our news up. We had the things yesterday. Technology yesterday. So let me get all of that taken care of while you do what you are doing, right? You're logging in, you're dropping it in there. And it's still spinning slow. We're not doing this today. All right. Let me see here. I'm trying to get it. Give me 1 second. It is locking up. So hold on. If I got to restart, I will. All right, let me do this while that's trying to load and while that's trying to pull up. Let me see here. All right, good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning, Toledo. Good morning, Miramar. Good morning, Stone Mountain. Good morning, Windmere. Good morning, Jacksonville. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is more of you all on the line. So you want to make sure that, you're walking in that right energy. You want to make sure, that you are dropping it in the chat. I think we might be in business. Come on. So while I get my screen shared together, there we go, Jacksonville. There we go. So go ahead, guys. You want to keep dropping it in the chat. You want to make sure. Now, you also want to walk in those affirmations. And those affirmations are, I am an educated BYOB master trader anointed for wealth, right? I am an educated BYOB master trader anointed for wealth. Did you catch that? Did you grab that? I am an educated BYOB master trader anointed for wealth. I am the signal. All my trades in profit. I am 777. So, right, we're affirming, right? Y'all see this? You see how long it's taking? So you are affirming, right? You're affirming, you're walking in the right energy. So let me try something if that's not going to pull up. All right, there we go. I was like, I'll pull it up on my other computer. And we're going to cover this news. That's what we're going to do. We're going to cover this news. We have no choice but to cover this news and make sure we're doing this the right way. So good morning, Cleveland. I see you guys, Jacksonville. All right, guys, continue to go ahead and drop that. And then, of course, you want to make sure, I see you, Cleveland. I see you, Milwaukee. So good morning, Columbus. Good morning. So keep dropping it as you continue to log in. You want to make sure that you are definitely doing that. How do you join the Telegram? You can look for BYOB Cash Out on Telegram. I can drop it in there in a minute, but BYOB Cash Out, be your own bank. So that's what it is. It's the BYOB Cash Out. Let me see. Let's see here. All right, let me go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and get started here. Now, as we begin this morning, and I apologize for the technology. I don't know what that's all about. Like, I have no idea what that's all about. But we're going to make it through it because this is a Power Pack Tuesday, right, guys? That is exactly what this is. This is a Power Pack Tuesday. And understanding that it is a Power Pack Tuesday, that means that we're going to do quite a bit of hanging out today, right? That's what that means, okay? we're gonna do quite a bit of hanging out today, right? We're gonna be together quite a bit today and understanding that. And so we're gonna make some money. You guys should have made some money yesterday. Definitely should have. And so just want to make sure that we're walking in that success. And so what does that mean? You know, we're gonna definitely check this first. Like I said, we're gonna check our we're definitely going to check our news. Like, we're going to check to make sure what's happening, because how we trade is the technical analysis, but the fundamentals actually do move the market. Okay, the fundamentals actually do move the market. And so so what you want to do is you kind of want to check and look and see what's transpiring, like what is going on. You see what is happening. And when I look at this, it looks like we have a pretty quiet day. Now, when we come over here, this one pulling up for us, yay. So when we come over here and you see what's happening today, looks like a really pretty quiet day, right? That's what we're looking at. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for dropping that. Good morning, Atlanta. So looks like we pretty much have a quiet day. Now, knowing that, you see that, but what we do know is what's actually about to take place. You have the Jackson Hole event that's coming up this week. So I'm going to make sure you know that you guys, y'all look, go put it on for the full week. You saw how long it took us to pull that up. I'm not going to mess with it. But you want to make sure, like I said, you want to make sure that you're actually looking at that and you're going over that. All right, so now the Jackson Hole happens once a year. So obviously it's going to have some market impact, right? It's definitely going to have some market impact. And you guys should be aware of that. You should know that, right? That's a reality, okay? That we definitely have some market impact. So now, what we're looking at, all right, let me go ahead and see here. We're going to go ahead and dive in. I want to make sure, we're on the right chart. Definitely want to. Now, before we dive in and start analyzing, some of the things that you kind of see right here is, this was one of our trades from yesterday. So good morning, Chicago. Good morning. So this is one of our trades from yesterday. So you definitely want to make sure that, when you're looking at these trades and when you're looking at them, when you analyze it, this is where that patience, profit comes in. And so this is another one that we discussed yesterday. You see how it broke the trend line, and we discussed the psychological level and how this will begin turning around at that point. And you can definitely see, that's actually what's transpiring. Like, you can definitely see that's what's happening right there. And so what we want to do, all right, let's see here. I don't want that one. What we want to do is we want to dive in here, and I'm going to need another one, but we need to dive in here and we're going to analyze. And then, of course, I have a few that have also, kind of triggered looking at the harmonic scanner, looking at that. So we definitely want to make sure that, that's what we're looking at. So like I said, if I have to change any of those over, I will. And I don't know what is going on with technology this morning. All right. It's been fine. Like, it's really been fine. It is what it is. Okay. So as I'm scanning through here, I know I have a GBP AUD, but let's go ahead and we're going to do this one. The GBP AUD from the harmonic scanner, we have GBP USD right here. All right. GBP USD that triggered, look, and the GBP AUD as well. So we're going to start with these two. Okay. So as I look at the GBP USD, you can kind of see where this is. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop down to the 15-minute chart. Now, when you come to the chart, like, this line wouldn't even be here. Right, this line. And as a matter of fact, we kind of don't need it. We're going to start from scratch, because when you come here, you click this button, this is what the chart looks like for you. Now, what we're going to do, okay, is this is what the chart looks like. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through that analyzation. And I'm also going to walk you through understanding what the BYOB cash out strategy means. Now, you guys want to make sure that you come back this evening for market talks. You know, obviously the purpose of that call is to really break it down, and it's the basics. So it's to really help you understand the strategy, help you understand the foundation that we build upon. And that's important. If you don't have a strong foundation, you can't have a strong house, right? No matter what we do, we have to build from a solid foundation standpoint. So now you saw the one that I just deleted. That was a trigger from yesterday. And so here we are, we're triggering for a sale. So I'm going to put this over here so we understand what we're looking for. But first and foremost, I'm going to walk you through the BYOB cash out strategy. Now, understand here we are. I'm on the 15-minute chart, and being on the 15-minute chart, like looking at the fact that I'm on the 15-minute chart, what you're seeing is this is where the strategy starts. So I'm actually going to walk you through this. This looks like a pretty good setup, but we're also going to analyze our live trade, okay? Because this is what you see when you sit down. Like this is what you see when you get on there. This is what you see when you start to take a trade, right? So that's what you see. And so this is why we're going to do this, okay? So now, as I'm looking at this, the first thing first is I'm looking at my stochastic, okay? My 15-minute chart, I'm looking at my stochastic. The trigger happened for a sale. So here we are. Blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum, right? Blue line cross over the red and downward momentum around the 80, right? Around the 80. Now, then I'm looking for a red candle with a flat top and a PSR flip. I have that right here. Where did my other arrow go? It's way over there. Come over here, come closer. All right. So I have that, okay? So you see that alignment that's happening right there. Now, let's talk about this. Well, we are. Now, we're not done, okay? We're not done. So when I come here, I'm looking for a blue line cross over the red. Now, see, you see where we are. You see what's happening in the market. Now, this is in an upward momentum. And I'm also rejecting off of this support line. Now, I know that you guys would not have known that that's a support line if you're new. I got that. But you see that this is this is the trigger that we're looking at. And when you look at it, you see that that is typically what's happening on the support and resistance. I will tell you this, your support and resistance is your lifeline. So it's definitely something you want to make sure, you know, that support and resistance is your lifeline. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're kind of walking in that. You want to make sure that you're studying that. You want to make sure that you understand it, okay? So I definitely recommend that you spend some time analyzing and mastering support and resistance lines. And the psychological levels can help. So if you're new, I'm telling you, and even if you've seen it already, go back and watch that, okay? Go back and watch those psychological levels. So this is what we see. Now let's go ahead and look at our confluence, okay? I want to analyze and I want to look at the time frame confluence because obviously these are triggers, they're not signals. That means that they're called in a correction. That means it's scan the market. That means it's already done the heavy lifting for you. So it's actually scan the market to say, hey, what's going on in the market, right? Hey, you know, so I just, you know, to kind of understand that. So now let's go ahead and jump up to my hour. And when I come up to my hour, right, when you see the hour, what you're looking at and what you can see right now is that this was in a sale. Okay, so let me widen this up just a little bit so you guys can see that. Okay, definitely want to widen up, you know, a little bit so you guys can see, because I want to make sure that you all know to zoom in, zoom out. Like I want to make sure that you guys understand that. So as I'm looking at this, okay, you can definitely see right here where my stochastic is headed downward. Now that I'm looking at my confluence, and you see that this, now, why am I pointing this out so heavy? Because I don't need the setup on the hour. I'm not looking for the setup to be on the hour. I'm looking for it to look like it's going into that sell. And so what do we see here is look at this. We're actually pressing down. You see that? You see what I'm looking at? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to drop down. So we know this is not ready because obviously it's in a correction on the 15. But looking at our historical trade that we were looking at, let's go ahead and drop down to that 5. Now, when I drop down to that 5 minute, look what you see. You definitely can see where this had definitely been in a sale. So my lower time frame is my entry. My lower time frame, I see the activity. So why is it important to drop down? We understand that that's not where how you determine where the market's going, but at the same time, one of the biggest things is you need to understand I don't enter a trade if this is in a buy because my higher time frames, because if you do that, you're going into straight pullback. All right. So we want to minimize your pullback. Maybe that'll help it make sense for you. Okay. So we would definitely want to do that. So now I need to know where I'm at in the market, because does this even make sense? Does it make sense that I would begin to attempt to take this trade? Because we already know that our 15 is not alignment, right? We know that. We know that my 5 minute is not alignment. That happens first. So where am I even at in the market? So yes, you want to squinch up the charts, and yes, I said squinch up. So you want to pull the charts together. You want to get that bit. You want to zoom out, right? So you can really see that view. And as I'm looking at that, what do I see? This was that drop. That was that nice drop we got last week. You should have caught this rise up since the market opened this week, right? That was a drop. That was a buy. So we should have definitely been able to ride the wave on all of these as we've been looking at this. And now this is where it's pulling back. So as I look at the big picture of the market, okay, let me come up to my 4 hour. You see that? We know that this was that last significant level right up in here on my higher time frame. So now I'm still technically in a bearish market, because now this is not, let me tell you, this is not broken this level. So even though that was a nice pull up, so before you guys say, oh, the market's buying, right? That was 100 pips, right? 100 pips, it pulled back up, 100 pips. But yet we're still here. It did not pass that last significant level. And so you're definitely technically still in that. So if you look, it just makes sense. So I would watch this. I would, be monitoring this, as the day goes on. It's not ready for a trade at all. But it's a valid trigger, as you can see. How far will this pull up? But, also going back to Jackson Hole real quick, one of the things that's going to impact, because this is pair with USD, one of the things that's going to impact is the fact that they're now going virtual. All right, they're virtual. And then also, that would have more of a negative impact. But then what else happened yesterday as we were closing out our 9 o'clock call is Pfizer got that FDA approval. I think I knew it was coming, but while we were on the call is when we got the official news. And so understand that's gonna give some strength, or that's going to impact the market as well. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? Because we're going to go analyze another one as well. Questions, comments, or testimonies? Just drop it in the chat if you got any questions, comments, or testimonies. Yes, drop it in the chat. And we would definitely. All right, so let's jump over here. And let's look at this. It was at GBP AUD. Where did it go? Let's go over here and do it from this one. All right. All right. So now let's take a look. So guys, you know why this is up. We'll come back to that. But I know when Ms. Anderson did the training, she uses these numbers. And let me point this out for our new individuals that are on this line. So one of the things that was pointed out and highlighted. So this is the real price. I always tell you guys that we look at this, you got your real price and you got your Hikinashi price, right? You got your real price and your Hikinashi price. And so the Hikinashi candles, right? That's what they are. They're Hikinashi candles. They're trend candles. And so that's why you have two prices right here. Well, to help you kind of focus and understand, this is that live price. Okay. That's what this is. That's that live price. And so now I'm going to keep it down for a moment, but just to kind of show you why it's up there, right? Just so you can kind of see what's actually happening and why it's up there. All right. So definitely want to make sure you guys understand that. So you can use that. That's a very valuable resource and a valuable tool, especially if you're trying to determine the difference between the two of them and what. So even though there was a signal, it was a right setup. It's not, this is not a signal. It's not a signal. A signal means a trade is ready. What to help you understand what the vibrato does is it scans the market, all right? It scans the market and it looks for high probability trades. So there are conditions met in the market, like if this, then that, okay? So that's the best way I can explain it, because it's a program and it's like if this and then that. So it's not a signal. A signal means, hey, this is a trade. So in this setup, in the trigger, right, which is why we call them triggers or alerts, in the trigger, then it's typically called in the correction. It's called in the pullback. So if I look, why do we do our top-down analysis? You see, this is in a sale. You see, this is in a sale, is gearing up. And so my lower time frames have to get back in alignment in order for me to take a sale, or it will be indication of something shifting to take a buy. But everything is kind of in that like alignment for a sale. It's sitting on a support line. The market always reacts around a support and resistance line. If it doesn't, there's some strong force or some strong news that's kind of pressing that forward. So as we look, and as you can see, it's a valid trigger. So it triggered for a sale. This is in a buy, right? So that's what we call a correction. It's always triggered in a correction. But before you can take a trade, you have to wait on the setup. You have to wait for the setup to manifest. So just like this one yesterday, okay? And then this is AUD. So hey, we can use this one. So just like this one from yesterday, right here, this arrow is still there from yesterday. And so this did not happen while we were on the call, but we analyzed the alerts. And then, we analyzed the alert. And then not only did it come down to here, it even went further than that. So you can see that it's always called in a correction. And then the trade will play out, like the trade will manifest. So I think that's the biggest thing, when someone is learning, or the biggest thing, when you're really diving into this and utilizing this for the first time, is I hear that so often. It's like, but the alert, the signal said, but just really trying to figure that out. And that's why I make sure I emphasize that it is not a signal. A signal, you be ready to take the trade or just enter the numbers that somebody gives you. So it's definitely a setup. It's definitely a setup. Like it's an alert to say, hey, there are some market conditions you need to take a look at. There are some market conditions I just saw that says, you know what, this has great potential based on the settings in the market. Kind of like all of these indicators, right? So my stochastic is a momentum indicator based on past market conditions. So based on my market conditions, that should tell me I should be taking, well, that was the other one. That tells me I would have been taking a sell, right? So, based on those market conditions, my stochastic is telling me that I should be taking a sell. And that's pretty much like what this is, except for it's looking for the setup, right? It's looking for that. So, and like, look, that's not Confluence. So even though we just analyzed GBP/USD, I just kind of want to make sure you guys understand. So, and before you guys think and then we're going to go to the AUD. So even though, look, I got a blue line cross over the red and an upward momentum. So, and then I have a green candle, right? That's actually a flat bottom, and we have a PSAR. When I come up into my hour, I definitely do not have Confluence. So might have some pullback in this candle, but I'm definitely, that momentum on that sale is too strong for you to even consider taking a trade. I can't drop down on my 30. You'll hear me say that with GBP. No, I cannot do that. It has to give me some indication, right? It has to give me something that says, you know what, I can drop down. You know what, I can drop down. So it has to give you some indication or some thought process that you can, and this is not doing that. So we're not dropping down at all. That stochastic pull is too strong as my leading indicator. Hopefully that's a little clarity. Yeah, hopefully. Now let's dive over here. So this trigger, now we already have some markup from yesterday, okay? We looked at how strong this pulled up. We looked at where we were in the market just to kind of go back, and you guys can kind of see it's been quite a while since we've been at this point in the market, okay? It's been quite a while. If I come all the way up so you can get a good picture of the market, it was May of 2020. So we already identified yesterday that we're sitting around a very strong resistance point, right? We've already identified that. And so when we talked about it yesterday, you can see how, now that you see how this actually pulled back. So what we want to do is this one just trigger for a sell. And so what I'm going to do now, the blue lines are the psychological levels, okay? This was, actually, we don't need this one we're not going to really worry about that. We're going to take this little arrow and it trigger for a sell. So we're going to set it to the side so you guys can stay with me. Don't use arrows when you're trading at home. Please don't. And we're going to drop this trigger price on here. Let's drop this on here. All right. So it was at 189.784. All right, so this is where that trigger happened. Now this trigger happened also on the 15-minute chart. Once again, doesn't it look like it's in that buy, right? It's in that buy. So it triggered in a correction. Okay, give you time to set up, give you time to analyze, give you time to see what's going on in the market. So now I want to we see that blue line cross over the red. I mean, it always looks like it's going to be a really good buy setup. That's what it always looks like, or vice versa. So that blue line, let's move this over. Blue line cross over the red and upward momentum. I have a green candle with a flat bottom and a peace arc, okay? But what are we looking for? Where did it go? It's way over there somewhere. I already know. There it is. We're going to bring them closer. What do we know we're looking for, right? So now, let's zoom back in. I want to come up to my hour. When I check my hour, now this is the thing, all right? When I check my hour, this triggered 22 minutes ago, so at the very top of the call. When I check my hour, all right, when I check my hour, this stochastic could have just started pulling up some, but it's still valid if you look at it. So look at where my stochastic was and look at what's happening. I got that nice red candle that's obviously got some pullback, right, inside of it. So now what we need to do, so step one, right? Step one, the strategy. Step two, time frame confluence. Step three, let's do a top-down analysis. Or you can, even from the alert, you can do it the opposite way. Just make sure you're doing all three of them, all right? Yes, even if you're scalping and you're in and out of the market, you want that to build that consistency. We're talking about 6, right? We're talking about 6 figures in 6 months, what you'll learn more about tonight. But when you want that consistency and you want that from that mindset and that perspective, then what you definitely want to make sure is that you always understand where you are in the market, because that's going to build you that consistency in your trades. Because some trades, like right now, I'm telling you, I'm not that enthused or eager to take a sell once I zoom out and see what's going on, or quote unquote, squinch the charts up, right? So you can see why, looking here as I look, I'm not really excited about taking a sell at this point. Look where I am in the market. Now, we've seen it. Can we go oversold or overbought? Absolutely. Oversold simply means that the market is pulling down here, overbought. Absolutely can. But does that mean that is what's going to happen? Does that mean that, but based on what the setup is looking like, yeah, I'm probably not really about to just really dive into that, okay? So now, let's also take a look at the fact that was a valid trigger because it met the criteria of if this, then that. However, what I want to do is there was a harmonic scanner trade. You guys know, of course, it logged me out, but there was a harmonic scanner trade that when you pull this, okay, and you look at it, and I'm pulling it up so you guys know where to go. It's an IM.center. And you go to your product, you go to your strategies, and the harmonic scanner is down here. So when we do that, okay, and we come back over here, that actually triggered for a buy, which means that there is a harmonic pattern identified, and I did it on the hour, and you can kind of see the pattern in there, but there was a harmonic pattern identified that say, you know what, we're triggering for a buy. So I don't need you guys spazzing out when you see one of them say buy and then one of them say sell. Like, I really don't need you guys spazzing out. I want you guys to, you know, understand that this is how it happens. Like, this is, you know, what it does. So if I'm taking a look at this, now let's take a look. All right. So let's analyze. So I'm going to get, actually, I'm going to just make them orange because I'm going to get rid of it, but I'm going to just make them orange. So I'm going to drop those call prices, or those quote unquote take profits. Remember, they're support and resistance lines. They're not actual take profits. I'm going to drop this on here. So it was a valid trigger, but we have to come back and analyze the market for ourselves, right? You guys with me on that? Do you see that? So I take the trigger and I evaluate the trigger, right? And so now you see how we end up with coloring books. We're gonna design our masterpiece, right? We have all these lines on the chart, but we started out with a very clean chart, right? We started out with a very clean chart. All right, so now as I'm looking at my hour, so what I'm seeing is we already know our yellow lines. Actually, I can get rid of this one. That's just too much. So our blue lines are the psychological levels, right? And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna mark this one. I'm gonna look at this one. So my blue lines are psychological, and I'm gonna add this other one too, because I need you guys to be looking and seeing what I'm saying. Okay, so we understand. And what does that mean? So that means from here to here, right? We're talking about 100 pips. Okay, that's 100 pips in there. And so from here to here, from here to here is 50. I just want to make sure you guys are with me on what that means. This yellow line was a trigger from here for a sale. Okay, so we trigger for a sale. We understand it was a valid trigger. It was a very valid trigger. Now, but we also have to come in and understand what the market is telling us. Would I dive in for a sale? On my 1 hour, I am in an oversold territory, and my stochastic and everything is starting to give me that curve up. All right, nothing's ready at this moment, but that's what's happening. On my 4 hour, this is a new 4 hour candle. So there's some strength to this. So it's possible. Let's see, where is, where we at? So where's my 5? Let's put that other level on here. I just want you guys understanding that this can still pull down. So if this does pull down, and that makes my trigger very valid, right? That we had, if this does pull down, because the trigger doesn't tell you how many pips, but you can see the momentum in this 4 hour candle. Look at what's happening with my stochastic. It was kind of pointed up, and now look at how it has that curve. So I want you guys to begin to see just how, you know, important this is. So that's a brand new, like, you see the countdown over here. We're halfway through to that next candle on an hour, but this is a brand new 4 hour candle. And so I'm just trying to get you guys to see, but do you see the buy setup? Do you see the potential for this to pull down a little bit more, making both of these very valid? But can I take a buy right now? Absolutely not. Look what just happened. We just got this new 15-minute candle, and look what happened. Do you see how the momentum shifted a little bit? Just as we're sitting there. That's why you always want to make sure your trades are properly set up before you dive into them. We don't just push the button. We want you to push the button, but we don't want you to just push the button, right? When you push the button, you need to understand what's going on. So any questions on this? Do I have any questions on this? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Overall, you want to have the smaller time frame to line up with. Absolutely. That's like the perfect setup. Now, am I always going to have my hour and my 4 hour? No, because it's just like you want it, That's like the perfect setup. So let's go back and look at this. For example, let's say we caught this trigger from here. All right, let's look at the historical trades that will kind of tell you what you'd be looking for, right? So as I look here, and I'm gonna drop this right here. So noticing that you have a setup here, right? We have a setup here, right? This would have been that setup. And so you notice that I still have my blue line cross over the red and downward momentum on my hour, right? And you see how I have all this set up. That's actually right here. Now, when I come to my 4 hour, I don't have Confluence as of yet, right here on my 4 hour. So my stochastic is still up. So, you know, within here, I got to find out where we were in the market. But if I pull this over some, you notice that this is when this setup began. And I'm going to put a line here just because I'm trying to point something out. I'll put this right here, and you can see where that setup actually began. So we already had this hour little box right here. I'm trying to highlight something for you guys real quick. So you already have this right here. This is where I got an alignment on my hour and my 4 hour. All right here where this yellow line is. However, you notice I had some movement that started right here. So when I drop down to my 15, okay, you'll notice that in this box, when did my 15 get in alignment? My 15 is in alignment right here. So we're inside of this box, okay? You notice that from the 15-minute chart, this will help you understand. Hopefully this will help you understand why this is our foundation. So right here, my stochastic, blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. I got a red candle with a flat top piece on flip. I know I have Confluence because we just checked it, right? We know that this is where my hour started as downward momentum. So now when you see us talking about get 10 pips or cash out, get 10 pips, cash out, and then trade, or you can then trade to your first support and resistance line. Does that make sense now? Because that's what you're seeing. So if I'm looking at my trade from here, I got my Confluence, right? Because what you'll learn tonight is really this, you're focused on our basics call. This is your setup. On our basics call, this is your 10 pips and cash out or to that first support and resistance line. And why do I always tell you, do not attempt to take it any further? So this is the 10 pips and cash out. This is the foundation. This is where you start learning. This is where you begin to start, you know what I mean? So do you see, this is what you actually took. And then as you begin to advance your skill set, you begin to understand this is where my higher time frames are in alignment. You already had that entry. Now you got an opportunity for a nice ride down. And this is how you increase and go past 10 pips to zone, or what have you. So that would have been that initial setup, but then you see, you always want to be trading with the current, momentum of the market, because if you see that that's starting to set up, that's like a perfect one. Even if I get to my 4 hour, you notice that we might not have been curving down as of yet, but we were definitely, it looked like it was about to gear up and it was starting to get there. So, but would I take it for more than 10 pips? I'm actually looking at the support line because some of you guys pip reaction time is like, okay, meaning that it can take a minute for you to actually get into the trade. So, and we locked up. Questions, comments? Did that answer your question? I want to make sure it answers your question. Okay, good. So awesome. So when the charts let us move, we'll move. And there we go. All right, so now that's kind of what we're seeing here. So here, like when I come down here, right, we just talked about why we would not have taken that trade. So you should be very thankful that we didn't take it. So you look at the fact that, yes, we had that blue line cross over the red. You had that right there, that momentum, but we never had Confluence yet, guys. We never had Confluence. I need to have Confluence. Now, does it look like I'll get that? Like I said, it could pull down a little bit more. Looks like we'll probably get that, but you wouldn't take this trade no further than that. No further than my 10 pips to cash out or the very first support and resistance line. And then, of course, but you're starting to see, because what did it trigger for? It triggered for a sell. So what does it trigger for? In a correction. And now you see. So it's a very valid trigger. So even though my harmonic scanner has me set up for a buy, prepping for a buy, you can see that this is a valid trigger. All right. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and dive in. So we have these that we're watching. Euro, I don't think none of that triggered. So just keep monitoring that setup. I mean, I definitely would. All right. So let us come over here and let's just grab another one. Trying to see if it's any one of the ones I have written down. All right. So this just triggered. Let's just go with this one. All right. Here we go. Naked, right? Naked chart. So we have nothing. We have nothing on here. And so let's go ahead. This is how you trade at home. You want to leave this open? Leave this open. I'm going to close it because I know where the trade is not actually ready just yet. So if we had some trades that were live in motion and we could take them, we would leave it open. In the web analyzer, the red is a sell. Yes. That's what yes, absolutely. Yes. So now let's go ahead and pull this one. So what you're looking for, let's get our call price on here. Make sure our call price is here. So 109.704. All right, so this is where that trigger happened, and it happened 1 minute ago. Well, you guys, if you saw that nice little drop that I saw as soon as we started pulling this up. So it triggered on a 5 minute, okay, and it triggered for a sell. So I'm gonna put the little arrow here so you guys can stay with me. Now it triggered for a sell. So now what I want to do is I want to check my 30 minute because this looked like market structure, right? But there is always structure within structure. I want you guys to understand this structure does not override the higher time frames. You're seeing the structure inside of the structure. That's what I think a lot of you guys probably would need some clarity on. Now let's do my Confluence. Let's jump up here and check my 30. And you can see it's a valid trigger. But now I want to understand where I am in the market. So do you not see how this has been rejected right up in here? Look at all the rejection and everything that's been happening. And as a matter of fact, let me see here. You can kind of see where this is happening right up around here as well. So you see where we triggered, but I'm gonna draw that support and resistance line because I want you guys to understand the, look at the rejection, look at everything that's happening right there, right? You see that? So you're already starting to get an idea just looking at this, what we are. But we're still gonna go up, do that last step, and look at where we are in the market. Now, what's happening, what do you see? We're kind of in that midpoint, right? So you see how the market's been down and it pulled back up, and now it pulled down and pulled back up. And so what you're looking at is kind of where we are. And you can see like how this is sitting on here. Like you can see where this is at. And you can see like that blue line crossover red and that downward momentum right there. I jump over here to my 4 hour. And if I jump to my 4 hour, look at the one thing I do see is I see it. Okay, we see it. But then now as I'm looking at this, look at how hard of a time it's having pressing past this. So do I have a valid trigger for a sell? Absolutely, I do. But look at how hard of a time this is having getting there. Look at my stochastic. It's struggling to get through here. So it's a very valid trigger. But then let's take this a step further. Why do we always look at the news before we start trading? Because we need to understand what's happening. So why is this having such a hard time pushing through there? What's going on? What's happening right now? Why could the US dollar be so strong? Because remember, it's my base currency and it's my counter currency. So my technical analysis is accurate, but there's some fundamental impact and some fundamental play. US dollar actually has a little strength to it right now, right? And so understanding that the US dollar has had some strength to it. Do you not see how we took that GBP? Where'd it go? I want the right one. Do you not see? You know what? It was from yesterday. I had to change browser. You see that strength that we had in that USD as this literally pull down. So that's in this situation, it's the counter currency. You have your base currency and you have your counter currency. And that's what we have. So I can see right here why this is having such a hard time pressing through there. So is it rejecting off of there? Absolutely. And what'll happen is, you might not be taking that seriously, or you really might not be understanding the magnitude of what that means, or really taking a technical analysis, because Jackson Hole and Pfizer. And so just like this is why that US dollar is our base currency. So if this one is stronger, then we buy. If this one is stronger, then we sell. And right now it's being rejected. So will this move? Not now. If it's gonna end up taking a buy, it's not going to go anywhere. Like, let's say this just keeps getting rejected and we don't press through here and we don't get past the zone, then a buy is not going to happen until that my technical analysis gets back in alignment. So don't go thinking I could just go jump and take a buy because it's getting rejected. That's crazy. No. So I mean, look at how we got it set up. We have a PSAR flip right here. So it looked like it's trying, but don't get caught in this. It's dipping for pips. Don't get caught in that either. And you can see that's a valid setup. Like my hour, that's beautiful. That's real beautiful when I'm not looking at this, when I'm seeing my stochastic, my candle PSAR come to my 4 hour, right? This had been selling. I got a red candle. That's beautiful, but I cannot ignore. This is why that step 3 is important. This is why that's important, because even if I was attempting to do a 10 pip trade, I need to know where I'm at. So this zone is a risky zone. And so now you know that, and we understand that, right? So that's what that is. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? All right, no questions, no comments. All right, guys. So understand what today is, because you guys know I'm back on the road again. We're going back to school today. Yay. So, but and I have, you guys bear with me, because I do expect this to be our story several times throughout the year based on the amount of emails that I see coming in and out, the things happening around us, so we're going to figure it out. We're going to make it work, because I was way too excited when school started. But, just understand that today is a Power Pack Tuesday. Like, this is a Power Pack day. That is what this is. It is a Power Pack day. And understanding that we have a Power Pack day, what I want you all to understand is that today at 9:00, you come back, you join us. We'll be up analyzing and going through. You see, like, our indices. Obviously we have our markups from yesterday. Look what happened with our NASDAQ. We'll definitely be coming through and analyzing our indices. Bitcoin is kind of hanging out in there. So these are all our setups from yesterday. And we'll be coming back and really going through that on a 9:00 call. And then at today at 5 p.m. is our radio broadcast, rejoice904.com. Or you can just make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can also see it streaming. And so you can plug in and make sure you're subscribed. It's Be Your Own Bank Movement on YouTube. So you want to make sure, like, you're just plugged into that as well. And make sure you're subscribed so you can catch that stream as well. And then, of course, this is why it's that Power Pack, because tonight at 9 p.m., we are definitely back here for our BYOB basics. So training is in the evening, implementation is in the morning. And so on the basics, you're going to really begin to understand, like I said, Ms. Anderson, our pit master, is going to go through, really helping the foundation that I just showed you guys, how to look for a trade. What are you looking for in those trades? And so she's going to walk you through that. Okay. She's going to walk you through that. I know I'm on the wrong one. So what we just looked at, where you can definitely see like those trades. And because this is that foundation where it begins. So you'll gather a lot of clarity tonight on this part of that, because building off of that foundation. And then after that is a talk with the finance doctor. So, that's where you're enlightened and you begin to understand what's actually happening, the why behind the what. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, time for me to transition my hats, but make sure you set your calendar. You are prepared and you are ready to join us and spend the day with BYOB. Tuesdays is your hangout, BYOB hangout day. All right. I love each and every last one of you guys, and we'll definitely see you back here at 9 a.m. All right, guys.